And then there is the fourth crisis, the existential crisis. The crisis which now, I think, threatens to kill far more than international terrorism. The crisis which, in many ways, in whose solutions you in Sutton have led the way. The crisis about how on earth we reshape the way we live our lives in order to preserve this fragile living space, this fragile spaceship which we call Earth, which we are polluting and poisoning and heating up. We won't pay the benefit, we won't pay the price for that, but our children will, and our grandchildren will. And I greatly fear they'll refer to us as the selfish generations because we failed to rise to that challenge. That environmental challenge that now confronts us, again, who led the way? It was Labour. No one. These guys have just discovered this because it's fashionable. And the Tories, you must be joking. Mr. Cameron pretends that he's a green conservative. I should cocoa. I've seen some of these guys who are going to get in if they win. I can tell you, the idea that Mr. Cameron will be able to persuade any of them to vote for green policies, which would cause a rise in taxation, is complete cloud cuckoo land. This is what we believed long before it was fashionable to believe it, long before it was popular. And you showed it here in Sutton. You've been a leader of it. So who do you trust to take the decisions to meet this enormous moral and practical challenge? Not the Conservatives, not Labour, only the Liberal Democrats. And that's what I believe. That's why I'm fighting this election with more passion than I can remember for a long time. This is not an issue about Sutton just, ladies and gentlemen. It's not even an issue about Britain. It's an issue about our generation, our time, and the very world in which we live. So remember and be inspired with the thought as you walk into that camp, as you're going up the street and it's raining and Paul's giving you another 150 leaflets and you've got to put them through the door and there's 5 flights of steps to follow and God knows you want to go home because it's cold. Remember, it's not just Sutton. It's not just you guys. It's not just Britain. We're fighting for something much bigger. And let me tell you something else. If we come out of the next election with a strong bedrock of Liberal Democrats, Labour will internally implode. They'll start fighting each other. They'll start disemboweling each other in public. And I can tell you this, the Tories, if they govern, will have a very tough time indeed. Our opportunity, if we can hold that base and build it, to be able to do the thing which has been the dream of Joe Grimmond, of David Steele, of Jeremy Thorpe, and of myself, to become the gathering point for a new centre-left based around liberal principles, to heal the schism in the early years of the 20th century and rebuild a unified force on the left built around us, is greater than it has ever been. So that's why you need to go out and vote.